All right, welcome everyone to a particularly damp and dreary Tuesday night show and share at Knox Makers. Do we have any first timers here today? Oh, welcome. Tuesday nights are a chance to show off what we're working on, what we finished, what we failed at, what we're still working on, what we're stuck on. So yeah, it's just an opportunity to kind of see the breadth and variety of things that people are doing here at Knox Makers. We have a few people who've signed up tonight, and so why don't we get started with Brian, who's showing a sticker fail.
Greetings, everybody. I'll put that face down and make it easier to see. I've got a Cricut at home given to me, hand-me-down from a daughter, so I probably might have picked a Silhouette had I had a paying interest in it. We've got a couple in Fabric Arts, and we've got the very large cutter out here. They all work great, and I've used them plenty. But I decided to try to start using this Cricut a little bit, and I wanted to make it's a Jeep Wave sticker. It's a Jeep thing. Anybody that's got a Jeep, people wave at you as you drive by. It's like happens all the time, that and being ducked. But they've taken to putting these stickers of a hand wave on the driver's side, back side of the mirror. So as you see it facing in traffic, it's already waving at you. And I'm like, okay. And normally most of them have, like in the middle of the palm, like a Jeep grill cut out, which has been iconic on the Jeep forever, or just the word Jeep, usually in like the old font. And I wanted one that was plain, just simply a hand wave. So got one figured out, got it designed out, and started cutting the first sheet of it. And I had forgotten to change the setting on the depth of the cut. I had it set on a heat transfer vinyl, which I made some koozies for our D&D crowd, and they came out great. It cut them wonderfully, and I still left it on there. And of course, it cut regular vinyl way super deep. As you can see, it went all the way through. I've got one that's even worse than this. It like cut out individual finger pads. It's still functional. It's just not making it easy to put on. Somebody has to take their time peeling the back off. It does have a piece of transfer vinyl on the top, which is a clear piece of vinyl. It sticks, but it doesn't stick super bad. So when you peel off the back, it stays stuck to the transfer vinyl, which allows you to line it up because, these are separate parts. And otherwise, it'd be a nightmare to put it on something. So transfer vinyl allows you to have that more complex piece and put it on and peel that off. And so it will still function. You just have to be careful when you come to peeling it off on this side. So I've learned to always double check the settings and just not assume that it's going to work. That was my fail, which was only a quasi fail. Any other Wrangler owners out here in the crowd? Former, all right, okay. Yeah, so I've got a couple of spares of these, so if anybody wants one, I'll let them have it. All right, that's about all I got. Yes?
Like this always cracks me up, especially since it's an open hand wave.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a Jeep and
Yeah.
I've waved my waves as well. But to greet people, that is about the same as doing this, by the way. Just letting you know, when you're waving and your fingers are together, that's a wave. But just so you know, in other countries.
Oh, in other countries, okay, yeah.
In particular,
Yeah.
open hand means
Well, yeah.
I always think it's interesting.
The old Maluch.
Like
Yeah. Thank God that doesn't apply here. Yes.
So this just goes on the back of the window?
The back of the the back of the side mirror. Usually it is placed on the back of, the driver's looking at this rear mirror. It's the back of that. They're usually pretty large on the Jeeps, and they fit on there just really nicely, just boom. So, and you're looking at, if you're driving a Jeep, you're going to wave at them anyhow. You're looking at that part of the car, so you're going to see that mirror as well as the driver. Most guys driving a Jeep, somebody's waving at them, they're just like, that's kind of customarily what it winds up being, but it is a Jeep thing, definitely. Any other questions? Sticker related, maybe? No? Okay, good.
All right, coming up next, Isaac is going to show off his artisanal circuit boards.
Artisanal is a funny word to me. My girlfriend and I always joke, that like if you get an artisanal pizza, it means that they didn't take any special care to make it look nice, and so it's worth more. So that's the definition I'm working with. I brought a couple of little electronic projects to show you, not because I think the projects themselves are particularly interesting, but because recently some of the electronics folks have been talking about making circuit boards. As you may know, Joe Pardue has been working on a PCB mill so that we can actually make circuit boards here in the shop that was donated by PCB Rob, which is going to be awesome. And of course, there's other ways to make circuit boards at home, with like chemical processes and stuff like this. And of course, I've noodled around with those, as have many of us, I suppose. But I just wanted to expose y'all to the idea that there's sort of a middle way that I don't see anybody else doing, and I don't know, I really like it. I've been doing it since I was a kid because when you are building an electronic circuit, you can design the whole thing ahead of time and lay it out and basically prepare it for manufacture, which is what you're doing when you design a circuit board. But if you're only going to make one of them, and that describes me every time, right? Like I never make more than one of my projects. It's a wonder if I make one of them. Then I don't need the whole thing to be designed out really pretty. And so the way that I do it is on this type of substrate. This is often referred to as perf board, and it's just like, I don't know what it is exactly. I think it's like fiberglass, but you can see it's got a bunch of these little holes punched through it already. And so as you make your circuit, you just put the parts, you just poke the little wires in through, and then you can wire them together using bus wire or like uninsulated wires. And if you need the wires to cross over each other, you can just use a little segment of insulated wire. Or like on this board, I used only bus wire with a little bit of heat shrink here where I needed to cross over. And I really like this technique because it's so casual. Like you can just sort of build it as you go. You don't have to have everything planned out ahead of time. And so like when I was putting this thing together, I knew that I was going to be adding, the Arduino brain and the little display and the buttons. I wasn't exactly sure what was going to happen down here, but I could go ahead and do this part while I was sort of thinking about that. It also sets you up to make corrections when you goof things up, as I always do. And so, for example, this part here, well, I used the wrong part. I mean, it worked, but it didn't work well because I didn't put enough thought into it. If I had manufactured a really fancy circuit board, I still could have fixed it, but it would have really undermined me to do that, because now it's not going to be pretty again, and it's going to tear me up. But with this, you can just pop that dude off and put the right part in, rewire it a little bit, and you're back in business. Or you can also make unanticipated changes. Like on this circuit, this thing is designed to control a little heating element in like a little thermal press. And I wound up having to use a different type of temperature sensor than I had originally planned on, which called for this little board here. I didn't know I needed that at first, but it was easy for me to work it in. So this strategy of building boards to me is really appealing when you're just kind of noodling around. You don't necessarily know what your destination is. You're going to get there in a very casual way, which is kind of how I like to roll. So it's cheap, it's easy, it's fast, and there's no chemicals and there's no milling, like tiny dust of fiberglass. So I think it's pretty groovy. Anyway, just a thought. It's a way to go about it.
What does it do?
Sorry?
What does it do? What does the other one do?
This thing?
Yeah.
It's esoteric. I don't know if you'll remember, but Ray designed a circuit that made wacky quasi-musical noise, and I wanted it to make more complicated compositions. And so this is like an extension or modification of Ray's board that I made that plugs onto it and makes it more complicated.
I believe the term for those is rustic bespoke electron conveyance devices. That's how you have to sell them. All right, coming up next, we have Russell asking the question, do you want to weld a snowman?
I'm Russell Riley. A couple of weeks ago, I took the MIG welding class, and so I had to do a project to prove that I did it to do something, and so I made this guy. And he's a little snowman. So it was a very simple project, just went to the hardware store and picked out some, there we go. Picked out some different bolt sizes, so I made sure that the you know, you had the largest, the middle size, and then his little top hat is just a little cap, a screw cap, and then a couple of screws on the side. It wasn't all fun and games. I did have one that, he didn't come out quite right. Where is it? Over here. His arm broke. So it wasn't all success, but easily enough to fix. I just take it back there and give it another hot pop, and it'll go right back together. So one of the fun things that you can do if you haven't taken the MIG welding class, make sure you take that and learn how to make fun little guys like this.
If you haven't seen the photos from some of our other welding art classes, you can see those, and we'll probably post those on our social media because they are pretty cool. People made some really cool stuff. All right, coming up next on my list is Molly showing off a sensory board.
Okay, hi guys. My name is Molly Minkin, and I've been wanting to come here for a long time, but I've been working really hard on opening a preschool, and I have a project I want to make for them. It's a sensory board or a busy board. Do you guys know what those are for little kids? So ordered a bunch of like unfinished, you don't know what it is? Okay, so it's something for children to use their hands with, to be tactile, whether it's moving something or feeling a texture. It's, you know, something that's really good for them. So I'm making one of those, and I ordered a lot of the little pieces that you can buy unfinished, like the latches and the gears and that kind of thing. I'm gonna put it on like thick acrylic, like plexiglass, so that at their height, so they can go up and use it on the wall. So I've got some, this is gonna be on, it's like nice and soft. And then I have a whole bunch, I have like 30 different fabric swatches, and what I wanna do is make little bricks out of them. So I would wanna put like some wood behind, I don't know how to do all this stuff, so I wanna put some wood behind it, and then a magnetic peg on it, and put magnets on the thing too, so.
Can you show it under the camera part?
This? Okay, you want to see some others? Let's see. For just some, you know, really fun textures. That one, yeah, so there's about 30 of them. And so if anybody knows how to help me make little bricks, let me know. Also, there's going to be a maker space in the new school for the kids. So if you guys have any ideas about developmentally appropriate things for children to do, it's actually like a system that they sell, and they sell like a lot of the parts you can tinker with and the tools that are developmentally appropriate for them to use. So you guys, so it's gonna be 6 weeks to 5 years old. And each room will have a special art installation, like the sensory thing, and the older kids in the preschool room will have the maker space. But we'll probably be letting the other younger kids use it sometimes so they can get familiar with it. So, yeah. All right, thank you.
All right, that is everyone I have on my list. Was there anyone who had something to show who didn't make it up? Great, first hand I saw.
Oh, I'm gonna have to take off my jacket for this one. Oh, yeah, okay. Hi, everybody. My name's Andy. I'm a new member. And this is my typewriter. I'll put it underneath the, it is a, I'm using a, zoom it out. The current iteration, she is a Raspberry Pi 400, because I want it's got an integrated keyboard, and I just wanted to cut down on cables. The Raspberry Pi is the main brains, but the real winner of the whole project is my A6 Kindle that I have. I got the directions from the internet how to root it. So once I rooted it and I gained root access, because if you're going to be in my house, I'm going to be your boss, right? I don't need Jeff Bezos telling me what to do with my devices, where to put my phone. I've got a guide for what I did. So after you root your Kindle and put a particular program called the Unified Application Launcher, it looks like this. Oh yeah, I tried to debrand it a little bit on the back. Go, make your space. Okay. Reading Wheel of Time, that's not important. So I've got this extra program that looks like a book, but it gives me access to things in the Kindle such as 321. It's USB networking ability, and these are custom programs that I'll demonstrate in just a moment. Actually, right here, let's do it now. The required components are power, brains, and eyeballs. So I'm going to connect the power up here. Oh, I'm shaking because I'm so stoked. Excuse me, guys. All right. Press the button. Nothing explodes. Boom, she is on. Right? Boom, on. Okay. Then, after a few shortcuts, I usually like to make sure that it doesn't go to sleep, but I'm going to skip that part. Make sure that we are enabled. Great. Oh boy, oh boy. And then, so I'll show off this part. It comes with vanilla-wise this a shell called Kterm. It's a little terminal shell. And it has almost all the things that Linux has generally. It's really pared down, like it doesn't have sudo. So, and also like it's got this dinky keyboard. So that inspires the whole project. So I set that up. This should work if I just input the command. It's upside down, so I'm just taking me a second. Oh! Oh! Okay, so sometimes you get this bug that says no route to host, but that's okay. You have to do it a couple times, because once I demonstrate it turning on, I can show you all how she did it. Kindleberry. No, she doesn't work. Okay. Oh, there she is. Okay. So now I am in my whoa, that's a cool effect. I'll go showing. So it's hard to see at this resolution, but that is my Kindleberry Pi. That's my Raspberry Pi right here. So now I have all sorts of stuff. I am using it to write just prose. You can also use this to run basically anything that your Raspberry Pi can. So you can run anything that you've written in Python, JavaScript, etc. But I like to bring this to the bar, and I don't like to bring work to the bar. So this is for just typing around in. The final component is the case mod, and I tried to 3D print this out to I tried to print this out to connect onto the 40 pin and this little like Jackson hook right here, or whatever that thing's called, but I suck at 3D printing, so it's not like 100% accurate, like machined wise, and it's like kind of messing up my my 40 pin. It's actually really okay, but I don't use my 40 pin. So what's that called? Caveat emptor. All right, so what it takes to do is you have your Raspberry Pi, you have your Kindle, you have access to the root of the Kindle, and I wrote it down because I don't remember it. Kindle. Okay, right. So I wrote it a little bit. So the Kindleberry Pi, by me, a portable e-ink typewriter. Right. You can also use like your own, like a wireless keyboard, a mechanical keyboard for the extra clicky clacky. It's fine. It's great. So you root it. You, like Mary Berry, just make the cake. You root it. You get the required software, your your required software packages, and then you kind of put the Kindle aside. You configure your Raspberry Pi. You need to know, you basically need to know two things. You need to get it to learn and clock when you've plugged in the Raspberry Pi via this USB right here. I mean, the Kindle via into the Raspberry Pi via that USB. You can also put it in your bash profile, but that means that you have to have the USB connected before boot, and like sometimes that timing's really awkward, so I did both. Here's the trick: is udev admin monitor property. Right. Okay. So anyone have a spare USB? Never mind. Okay. Well, this is a daemon running, so it's not really like saying anything right now because I'm not going to do anything to it. I don't have an extra USB to plug in. But what it does is it shows like when you've connected or disconnected anything, and it prints out like a crap load of data. But really, you just need to know your Kindle's manufacturer ID and also your device ID if you want to. Then you make a new udev rule, which lives in let me see. Let's see. ls. It lives in ls. And it lives in etc, udev. So, and then rules. It lives in your rules directory. So if you might notice, like this came, Linux always comes with 99 com rules, and that's just like, I don't know, basic Linux stuff. I haven't learned that part yet. I've learned this part. 42 Kindleberry rules, where I just, let me cat that. See, it's a computer. It's a computer I can use in the sunshine, and it weighs less than 5 pounds. Cat, let's actually just do this. Oh. Something like that. Okay. Boop, 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 sneaker net style. Cat, and then go to the end. 42 tab. So udev rules work like they're usually it's easier to prepend them with a number and a hyphen and then something descriptive because udev applies each rule to your device based on like some sort of alphanumeric way. So just like I put 42 because that's the answer. So it's got subsystem USB because it's a USB thing. It's going to be my USB 0, right? And then it's an add action because I just plugged it in. And I've got the vendor ID. I messed up here, but commented that line out. ATTRS is the attribute, but it'll do it for any time that it's plugged in. So I was getting like double printouts in my logs of this happening. So you really just need ATTR. And because I've only done this with one device so far, I'm just using the vendor ID. In future upgrades, I want to use a Paperwhite because that has a backlight, and so I'll probably want to specify the model ID. So once you've done that, that was the hard part. That took me a year to figure out. I mean, because a year of doing it like once every 3 months. It took me 3 sit downs to figure that out. Then so you do that, and then what it'll have is it has a run plus, to which you can point just any shell script. So I've written one that just adds that says, well, this will run when it has a USB thing connected. So I just say whenever you've got to configure the ifconfig of that USB thing because this only ever runs when there is one. So make that, give that a static IP address. And that's important because the Kindle's keyboard is so dinky. I even used SFTP to transfer my keys around because I'm not going to I'm not going to press that many buttons. So I just did a shell command that set up a static IP address for my Kindle to access, and then it ran new screen is what we're seeing right now. I can actually do a secondary monitor right now because I'm not using the HDMI port on my Raspberry Pi, so that I can theoretically have 2 screens doing, well, they're the same thing because we're running screen. It's like a way to mirror stuff, and it's brilliant. So I'm peering into the Raspberry Pi with this thing, and because the Kindle has Wi-Fi, you can use the Wi-Fi and maybe like a hotspot with your phone. And it can be like completely wireless, but I don't want to have to use now I'm inviting yet another millionaire into my home, so I don't want that. So let's, so I also updated my bash profile and made the key pair. And then the next order of business is just to make like a binary file that I can run from that applications launcher. And that just like, since it sets a static IP for the Kindle because they both need static IPs, and then it just SSHs into that static IP address that I noted that on the here on the Kindle, on the Raspberry Pi. Woof. I think of them as one thing, so it's hard for me to like talk about the different lobes of its brain. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much how you do it. But I've run into this a couple problems. One, since my Kindle has no backlight, I can only do it in the sunshine. So one solution is to make your own, is like that worm light that was big in the Game Boys, but that only connects to the Game Boy DMG1, and you can't find them. So a USB version would involve a little soldering and destruction of the worm light, or make your own, and I haven't done that yet. Another possibility is the Paperwhite. There's another pro to using a Paperwhite over the Touch. The Paperwhite has a background, the backlight, but it also has a faster screen refresh rate. So like, if I typed really fast on this, like it's lagging, but it'll do a little bit better on the Paperwhite. The problem with using a Paperwhite is that Amazon, or A6, sneak updates your firmware. And for casual users, this is good. I don't want to know the software. I want to read the books. But I like reading the books too. But after a certain firmware, you can't root the Kindle anymore because I don't know, people hate freedom. So you have to actually like go in with the physical debugging connectors, and I don't have the steady enough hands yet, or find enough tools to do that, and the know-how. So there's a few steps for that upgrade, but that is one of my first upgrades. The other is a better case mod that actually fits and doesn't destroy the Pi. But like I said, my home 3D printer is hard to calibrate. So I keep it here instead in the Grimoire. Right, and then the second thing on the phone, this is, what is it, big fail energy, is that I think because of the actual like IP addresses that I'm using, the subnet hosts of like 192, it's like I can't, even if I'm connecting it to my phone, it won't like ping 8888, for example. It just like destination host unreachable, and I think it's because of it's like blocking that port on the Raspberry Pi in order to make it talk to the Kindle. But this is the relatively deep end of Unix for me, like sysadmins, network admins, and Unix for me. So this is where I've gotten so far, and I've gotten at least definite questions to ask for my next maneuver. Thank you very much. This is my typewriter. Any questions? I see a few questions. You raised your hand first, but you raised your hand harder. What about you? What's your name? Yeah. But I think I have some, yeah. I don't know if that's any easier or harder than some very simple, like single LED or something that's like made for a computer. Yeah. I know the X230 has it because I have an X230. I have it here actually. But you're using it. It's not for harvesting. Right, okay. I think pads are everywhere. Yeah, I've got 2, I think, dead in my house. Rotting up in the basement, but I'll think about that. The X230 is kind of like screen light. Cool. Hard hands in the back. What's up?
Did you run a little firewall to prevent the firmware updates?
By that time, you would. Okay, so since I've rooted my Kindle and I've actually kind of lobotomized it, I don't have to worry about that. having already got here. But in order to get there with a new Kindle like from McKay, it's kind of like a catch-22, because you don't have that profound of an access of a control yet, sadly. Any other questions? Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody else have a show that they have that didn't make it on the list? Nope? All right. We have a bunch of classes coming up, a bunch that were just added to the calendar. So on the 16th, that is tomorrow, there's an intro to the Cutting Torch, aka Cutting Torch 101, and that's at 7. There's still a few tickets available for that. On the 17th, Thursday, is the blacksmithing authorization. That's the intro to forging. So if you want to learn how to use the blacksmith shop, you must take that class, and that is at 6 o'clock, and there are all the tickets available for that. Also on the 17th at 7 is the Mortise and Tenon Joinery class, and there are still just a few tickets for that. The laser cutting class is sold out, so not even going to mention that otherwise. On the 20th, that's Sunday? 20th, yeah. There are 2 events happening at the exact same time. One is the Metal Shop Mingle, and that's just a chance to come and hang out in the metal shop and work on some stuff and chit chat with people. And then also at the same time over in the Fabric Arts area, there will Fiber Arts. Saturday
is the Fiber Arts. That's what I
Okay.
putting on the calendar.
Okay. So wait, the 20th is Sunday though, right? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So different days then. Okay. So 19th, not the 20th, will be a Fiber Arts meetup, we'll call it. Another one where you can come and talk with some people and work on some of your projects there. And then on the 20th will be the Metal Shop Mingle, and that will also be at 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. And then on Monday, the 21st at 6 is the 6th part of the Arduino 101 class. So if you are taking that, that will be on next Monday. And that brings us back to next Tuesday, where we'll have yet another open hack, and we hope to see everybody there. With that, just ask for some help taking out the trash tonight. I think we're good on air filters. So if we have some volunteers to help take out trash, 1, 2, anybody else who can help, please do. So that'll be all. And with that, we'll end the meeting and open up the shop for open hack and hang around and see what everybody's doing. Thank you for coming out tonight.